Now, this next one is the best 007 game I currently have in my collection. This next one is actually the most fun. Look at this cool shirt my wife gave me, guys. This thing is awesome. As you can tell, I'm a 007 fan, and also welcome into the lounge. So today we're talking about my top 007 games that I have currently in my collection. Also, we're going to talk about some games that I wish I had in my collection, and we're going to talk about the new 007 game. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So for the first one, and in no particular order, this one isn't actually a 007 game. I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. I personally consider it a 007 game, but anyways, it's a GoldenEye Rogue Agent. Alright guys, so this game actually puts you into an alternate James Bond universe. Speaking of alternatives, these games aren't backwards compatible, so just keep that in mind. And not every 007 fan is going to actually enjoy this one, but I think it's different and unique. So this game offers a unique twist where you step into the shoes of an ex-MI6 agent known as Rogue, who was expelled for his ruthless tactics and later recruited by the infamous Goldfinger. Unlike traditional Bond narratives, this story leans into the darker side of espionage, presenting an ethically gray protagonist who embraces the villainous lifestyle. The gameplay is obviously a first-person shooter experience, but it's honestly much more. One of the coolest aspects of this game is how you can gain access to a cybernetic GoldenEye implant. It's an upgrade that provides special abilities like magnetic shielding, hacking electronics, and manipulating gravity as well, guys. And James Bond isn't the only one who gets cool gadgets, but seriously, this aspect really does add an aspect of strategy that is enjoyable once you get used to it and to the controls. Speaking of which, for me personally, the controls actually had to be adjusted before I could actually enjoy this game, but once I did, it made it so I could really appreciate it. And another thing I really enjoy about this game, guys, is how the environments are stylishly sinister and drawing from those iconic Bond locations such as Dr. No's nuclear reactor and much more. You'll also encounter legendary villains as well, including Oddjob and several more. Honestly, I don't want to spoil it if you've never actually played this game. And if you're a fan of James Bond or 007 specifically, this probably isn't the game for you, honestly. But if you're a fan of the James Bond universe and first-person shooters, then it's definitely a must, guys. Now, this next one is actually for those of you that really enjoy the modern 007, like with Daniel Craig, and that's going to be 007 Bloodstone. So this one seamlessly weaves together cinematic storytelling, high-octane combat, and vehicular pursuits as well, guys, delivering an original storyline that rivals the intensity of the iconic 007 series. I don't want to give away too much of the story, but again, 007 is voiced by Daniel Craig and supported by actually the likeness and the voice of M. And the story spans exotic and richly detailed location, guys, everywhere from Siberia to Bangkok to even Istanbul. But the gameplay involves not only the third-person shooting aspects, guys, but also a dynamic cover system and a focus aim mechanic as well, allowing precise takedowns after performing melee attacks. But it's not just a shooter, guys. You'll have to be stealthy as well by silently neutralizing foes and using gadgets for infiltration. And the driving in this game is a lot of fun as well, as you get to commandeer Aston Martins and other high-performance vehicles. But by far my favorite aspect of this game is how overall it's done in a way to make you feel like you really are playing James Bond in a cinematic way.
You can keep your face. I put my trust in Bond.
Now, this next one, I know I'm going to get a lot of haters, but that's okay. It's 007 Agent Under Fire. And I'm aware it's not the best 007 game, but it's still a lot of fun, in my opinion. So obviously, this is another first-person shooter, but this time the storyline is centered around a global conspiracy involving a nefarious cloning technology. The gameplay is actually one of my favorite parts about this game, though. It strikes a nice balance between intense firefights, stealthy infiltrations, and vehicular action. You're equipped with an arsenal of specialized tools like the Q-Claw. It's a grappling device device and the Q laser used for cutting through obstacles. And it's not a new feature, but the Bond moments in this game are rewarding and probably my favorite aspect, honestly, because it really adds to the replayability aspect and the collectible aspect of this game, like being able to unlock a golden gun, for example. The driving segments are also a lot of fun once you get used to the controls, but honestly that can be said for most of this game anyways. And if you're a fan of 007 and arcade style shooters, then it's absolutely worth a try.
Bond R here. There appear to be two ways into the building.
So this next one, I gotta be honest, it's probably the least favorite 007 game I have. Not because it's not a great game, but just because it's not a lot of fun after the first one or two times you play it. That's 007 Quantum of Solace. Or at least that's my opinion anyways. For the 360 version, it's done in a first-person and third-person cover-based perspective. If you've ever watched the Quantum of Solace or Casino Royale movies, it does a fair job of following them along and blending them into a nice cinematic way. The gadgets, guys, are actually inspired by the Bond films as well, enhancing the gameplay by providing tools for hacking, surveillance, and environmental interactions. But the voice acting, guys, includes performances by Daniel Craig, obviously, but other cast members as well from the films, adding authenticity to this experience. Also, I should have clarified before, but this version is different from the PS2 version, so just keep that in mind. I'm still waiting to get my hands on that one, and if you've actually played both versions, I'd love to know your thoughts down below. Anyways, if you've never played this version of the game before, then it's definitely worth it in my opinion.
Hello?
Mr. White?
Yes, who's this?
Now this next one is one of my favorite 007 games, and that's 007 NightFire. Alright guys, so if you enjoyed Agent Under Fire, then you'll probably like this one as well, honestly, or vice versa. Anyways, it's a first-person shooter that puts you into the world of the iconic British Secret Service agent James Bond as Pierce Brosnan, or actually his likeness. Anyways, you embark on a mission to thwart another global threat across various exotic locations, including Japan and even the space station, guys. And this game also offers a nice mix of stealth, action, and gadgetry, staying true to the Bond experience, and I absolutely agree with that, guys. It's hard for me to choose, honestly, my favorite aspect of this game, because just overall it's a lot of fun. But more than that, it's actually the first video game I played as a child, although the first one I owned was this one that's going to be coming up later in this list. I will say that I really liked the variety of weapons and gadgets, especially in this game, such as the Q-Claw for scaling walls and the Q-Specs for detecting hidden items. But the console versions also included driving sequences, adding another layer of excitement and fun, and I absolutely agree with that, guys.
I'd give that dive a 3, actually.
Now, the one game that probably should be on this list, but isn't, mainly just because I don't have a Nintendo 64, but that's the 007 GoldenEye. But in its place, I've got GoldenEye Reloaded. And basically, this is a modern reimagining of that classic Nintendo 64 version. It's not quite the same, but it's really cool getting to revisit the iconic dam in Russia and such. One of the nice things about this game is you can approach missions with different playstyles, whether through direct combat or just silent takedown, guys, although sometimes it is inevitable. I would have to say that one of my favorite parts of this game is the variety of weapons, gadgets, and upgrades, allowing for a tailored experience, not to mention how the guns really feel in the game. But the AI in this game, guys, is quite adaptive, making encounters dynamic and challenging. And while this feature isn't part of the story, this game also introduces the MI6 Ops missions. It's a series of standalone challenges that test your skills in combat, stealth, and defense scenarios. And whether you played the Nintendo 64 version or not, if you're a fan of first-person shooters or just 007, it's an absolute must as well, guys.
Target's down.
Area clear. I'm moving to the truck.
Now, this next one is the best 007 game I currently have in my collection, at least in my opinion. That's 007 Everything or Nothing. All right, guys, so this is an awesome action-adventure, third-person driving fighting game that is very special to me because it's actually the first video game I owned, and although I do believe this game is the best 007 game, it just barely isn't the most fun one, so you'll have to stick around for that. But anyways, this game offers a cinematic experience that does a really great job at capturing the essence of the Bond franchise. While I'm not going to give away any of the story, I will say that it spans multiple continents, including Egypt, Peru, and Russia, and also features a cast of characters and their voices, as such as M, Q, and new allies like Serena Saint-Germain. This game also is played from a third-person perspective, allowing for more dynamic action sequences, such as hand-to-hand combat, and you can utilize cover mechanics, performing context-sensitive actions, and engage in stealth or direct combat. You'll also have at your disposal Bond's arsenal, including gadgets like the rappel gun, laser watch, and remote-controlled drones, alongside over 20 ranged weapons, guys. The game also features driving levels where you control vehicles like the Aston Martin Vanquish and more. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm gonna have to break our golden rule and let's talk about multiplayer games, or at least that aspect. But seriously, the co-op in this game not only has a lot of memories connected with it for me, but it's honestly the best co-op experience with a story for a 007 game anyways. So if you have a special someone, this might be the game for you. The two of you can take on missions using the same mechanics as the single player campaign, but with a different story than actually the campaign. And so that's one of the things that separates it from me. Anyways, I could go on, and speaking of which, I've already done walkthroughs of this and other 007 games in this list if you want to watch these in my playlist instead of playing them.
007. Intelligence reports that a nuclear suitcase bomb stolen from the ex-Soviet stockpile has surfaced in southern Tajikistan.
Thank you for saving my life.
Perhaps you can return the favor sometime.
Who's keeping score? Come inside.
In my opinion, this next one is actually the most fun. That's 007 From Russia with Love. Alright, guys, so this game is actually better than the movie, or at least in my opinion. So this is a third-person shooter that offers a unique blend of cinematic storytelling and action-packed gameplay, where you play as Sean Connery's likeness and voice, marking his return to the role after decades. This adds an authentic touch to the experience, guys, and I absolutely agree with that. So you navigate through 14 main levels, with objectives ranging from stealth missions to intense combat scenarios. There's even side missions, guys, and Bond's arsenal includes the iconic weapons like the Walther PPK, but the hand-to-hand combat and gadgetry also plays a significant role. The game does incorporate driving and flying levels with vehicles such as the Aston Martin, speedboats, and even a jetpack, guys. And while rooted in the film's narrative, the game introduces new characters, locations, and a reimagined villainous organization, enhancing the depth of the story. But by far my favorite aspect of this game is the reward system overall, and that later on you get to choose your own outfits. But anyways, so you can use the points that you collect and earn to unlock upgrades for not only your weapons and gadgets, but to unlock the behind the scenes content, artwork, and characters as well.
My daddy's a very powerful man, you know. You can't just go around
Shut
doing
up!
Alright, guys, so tell me what's your favorite 007 game down in the comment section below. Do you agree with me, disagree? Let me know your favorites. But let's head on and jump into the new 007 game. Alright, so the first thing we can see is that the Project 007 is actually a working title. It's not necessarily obviously going to be that. I'm not sure what I think of it being that, especially with what they say down below here. That's going to feature an original Bond story, which I can appreciate because most of the time when they do it based off of a movie, it just gets messed up. The 007 From Russia with Love, I think, was done quite well, but most of the time it's messed up. One of the things I'm really looking forward to about this game is that you're going to earn your 00 status, and that's just really cool because they're taking it back. I'm wondering, I don't want to speculate, am I? All right, I'm going to speculate. I think it would be really cool if they took the story all the way back to when 007 got his 007. And I think that it being an open world would be really cool. But I don't know. You guys let me know what you think down in the comments section. If you're a fan of single player games, then consider subscribing. But until next time, y'all have fun playing single player games.